Good morning, my friends! Long time we haven't been learning Rambam over the period of the holidays, and now we are getting back into it, and we want to continue from where we left off. We are in the middle of the laws of Tefillin. The laws of Tefillin are very interesting, with many details, and we're going to try to go through them to be able to learn exactly how Tefillin are made and what is the proper way of putting them on. So today we're going to be learning the details of how tefillin are made. And there are special laws that have been transmitted all the way back from Moses, from Moshe Rabbeinu, all the way back to the giving of the Torah of exactly how tefillin are made. So it's very fascinating. And if you look at a pair of tefillin, you'll notice all these details on them that we will be discussing today. So in general, there are various laws of different details that we have to be careful about when we make tefillin. So, first of all, tefillin have to be square. And every part of it has to be square. So, in other words, the length and the width of the tefillin have to be exactly square. The depth, in other words, how tall they are, is not as important, although the custom is that we have it entirely square from all sides. On the sides of the head tefillin, so if we have the head tefillin, I can actually show that to you right over here. There is a letter shin on the side of the tefillin. So let me show it to you right over here. If we take the head tefillin out of the box, and if you look on it, you can see that there is actually a letter shin on the side of the tefillin on both sides. And inside the tefillin, as we have already learned, that they open up, the box opens up, and there are 4 compartments in it, as you can see. So there are 4 compartments, which each one of these compartments has another portion of the Torah. So when we put them in, these 4 little portions, we actually wrap them with a piece of fabric and then with a little string, which we're going to be learning shortly how that exactly works. And then we put them into the box. And we sew the box. You can actually see the white stitches all around the box, which is how we sew the box of the tefillin closed. And that is done with the sinus of an animal. So it's a string which comes from a kosher animal, as we're going to be learning. And another detail is that the straps should be black. That is another important part, and that the knot in the back of the tefillin looks like the letter Daled, as you can see right over here. That's the letter Daled. So these are various details in regards to the laws of how tefillin are made. So he goes into the details. So how do we actually make tefillin? So first of all, we have a mold that is made out of wood, which is the exact size of how we want to make the tefillin, as we mentioned, and we want that the length and the width should be exactly the same, so the tefillin should be exactly square in their circumference. And and then for the head tefillin, as we said, there are 4 different compartments. So when we make the wooden mold, we make it with the space with 4 little compartments, and then we take a piece of parchment. It's a piece of hide, really. It's a thick piece of hide, and we put it in, we make it wet and put it into the mold, and we let it sit there until it is actually ready, until it dries and it becomes the shape of the tefillin. So it starts off just as a little piece of leather, which has these 4 compartments, but they're still not square and exactly the shape that we need it to be. And once we put it into the mold, and the mold also has the letters of the tefillin, the letters of the shins on the 2 sides, and then you put it in, and poof, when you pull it out, sometime later, a few weeks, maybe a month or 2, and then you take it out, and it's ready to go. And once you take it out, so then you are able to actually stick in the portions into every one of the boxes, and close it, seal it, and we're ready to put on the straps. The hand tefillin has a very similar procedure, just this time it's just an empty box, the mold, because there is no different compartments. The hand tefillin is, as we have already shown over here, but you can see that the hand tefillin does not have any compartments. So you can see the difference. The head tefillin has 4 little lines, which are 4 little compartments. The hand tefillin, in contrast, is only one single solid box. So the mold also is going to be just one box, and it's going to go in there. And then we put in, and so there's a difference. In regards to the head tefillin, as we said, there are 4 portions, and we put each one into their respective box. The hand tefillin, on the other hand, since it's only one single box, we actually write these 4 portions. So they're the same portions in the head and the hand tefillin. But the difference is how they're actually set up. So the head tefillin, they're on different pieces. In the hand tefillin, they're on just one long piece, just like a little Torah, a little scroll, and it's rolled up and stuck inside. So we have 4 times the mitzvah of tefillin is mentioned in the Torah, and we have to put it in a specific order in the way it's written in the Torah. So you actually want it to be in the way that we put it into the head tefillin, because we are going to be wearing the tefillin, and other people will be standing looking at our tefillin. We put these portions into the box in a way that when a person is looking at us from the opposite side, they are going to be looking at the boxes in the order they are spelled out in the Torah. So even though we can't actually see these portions, they're only inside the box, but it has to be in a specific order. And similarly, also on the hand tefillin, on the long piece of parchment, you write it in a specific order. First the first portion, then the second one, third, and the fourth. Then you roll it up and put it in. And you roll it up from the end to the beginning, not from the beginning to the end, so that when you open it up, you're going to see the beginning of the portion, not the end. And then, before we put it into the actual box of the tefillin, we should wrap it up in like a little piece of fabric, as we said, and then we take, again, from some of the sinus of the animal, and we wrap it up, and we tie it, and then we stick it in. And it has to be from a kosher animal specifically, and it doesn't actually have to be slaughtered according to Jewish law. In other words, even if the animal just died on its own, if you have a cow or a goat or a calf or whatever, the Rambam says that the custom is to use the hair of a calf. That's what we use, and that's what we tie the tefillin with. That's what we sew all around, and also the inside when we tie the little parchments of the portions, we also do it with that. And the custom is to have 3 stitches on each side. As you can see, there are 3 stitches along every side. So that means there's in total 12 stitches that are closing the box. And then we have these straps. As we said, so the straps have to be black, and they have to be a little bit thick, so they have a certain, so they don't rip. And they have to have a certain width as well. They shouldn't just be little strips, but rather they should be a little bit wider. You can actually see over here, these are actually quite thick. There are various thicknesses, they can be a little bit thinner than this, not as wide, a little bit more narrow. But we have to have it long enough to be able to go around our head. In the head tefillin, as you can see, there is this end part of the box of the tefillin where the strap goes right through, and it has to have enough space so that this can go onto your head and it can sit properly, and then have enough coming down all the way till a person's waist, just about. Similarly, also in regards to the hand tefillin, we put the hand tefillin on our arm. If we're right-handed, we put it on our left arm. If we're left-handed, we put it on the right arm. That's what we're going to learn about. But we wrap it. We wrap around our arms 7 times, and then around our finger and our hand. So we need to have it long enough to be able to do all these wrappings, so that we are able to put on the tefillin properly. And when we put it on, when we take these straps, we stick it through this end part of the tefillin, and then we make this special knot in the back, which the Rambam says that every person who is a Torah scholar should really know how to do this knot, and it's actually not very hard to do once you learn it. But it's a very nice, it's a very special knot, and you're able to actually enlarge it and make it smaller and shorter. But So that's the special knot. Now, when we're talking about the color of the tefillin, so the front is supposed to be black, and then the back doesn't actually matter what color it is. So you can see over here it's like a brownish color. It's the natural color of the hide. But if it's a different color, it's okay, as long as it's not red, because it's not very, it can be a little bit embarrassing. Red on the other side, looks like blood, or the Rambam says if it's green or any other color, it's okay. But in general, he says that it's beautiful for tefillin to be black, the tefillin themselves, and the straps should be black. That's how we have it all the way down, passed down from Moses, from Mount Sinai. And when we talk about the hide and the various leathers, they have to be from a kosher animal. So we have to specifically use a kosher animal, and they have to be done with the proper intention that they are being made for tefillin. And therefore, a Jewish person should be doing them. And that's the way tefillin are made in general. So, and the Rambam finishes off by telling us that if we have the box of the head tefillin, so we shouldn't now change it to be used for the hand tefillin or vice versa. Unless they were never used and they were just made, so then there might be a possibility to change it over. But in general, if you made tefillin for the head, you stick it for the head. If you have it for the hand, you have it for the hand. I'm sorry, my mistake. The hand tefillin, you are able to change into the head tefillin, because the hand tefillin have a lower level of holiness than the head tefillin. So therefore, you are able to change the hand tefillin to the head tefillin, but not vice versa. If you have the straps of the tefillin that unfortunately might have ripped, so we don't just tie them up and use them, but rather we dispose of it properly, and then we use a new strap, as it's called in Hebrew, the retzuah, which goes around the strap. So you use that, and we should always make sure that the straps are the right way up and that they're not flipped over to the other side, that we see the white side, but rather that you should see the black side. That is the chapter of Rambam for today. My friends, I'm very excited to continue with this project of learning Rambam every day, another chapter. God willing, we're going to catch up to the main cycle of Rambam, which is a little bit ahead because we had a little bit of a pause, but we're going to get back to it, and we will be learning the daily Rambam every day, so tune in. All the best, my friends. We'll see you soon.